will go with the first speaker today. So we have Vinuta, right? Hey Vinuta, how are you doing?
Hi sir, I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Good, I'm good. So you can go with your topic. I think peace is every step. No, very amazing topic you have chosen. No, peace. Everywhere you need peace. Actually, everybody wants peace. So I think you are bringing the peace on every step. So you are eager to hear from you. Go ahead.
Yes sir, thank you so much. Hi all, good evening. Hope you all doing good. So today, my name is Vinita. I'm from Mysore. So today I'll be presenting the book named as Peace is Every Step. This is written by Thich Nhat Hanh. So to tell about a few words on him is that he's what you can say. He was Thich Nhat Hanh, Vietnamese Zen master, and he's a poet, and he's a peace activist, and has been a monk for over 40 years. So he has written a poem. How it starts, like here it goes: Peace is every step. The shining red is my heart. Each flower smiles with me. How green, how fresh all that grows. How cool the wind blows. Peace is every step. It turns the endless path to joy. So, what the author wants to convey through these lines is, so these lines summarize the essence of author's message that peace is not external, or we cannot find it anywhere, or we cannot attain it. The only thing is we have to start living peacefully, that we have to start living mindfully, and we have to start slowing down, and we have to enjoy each breath, we have to enjoy each step. So that is way more enough. And we might think that peace is found in having good food. Okay, I agree with that. But when peace is already present within each step of us, so that means we should find first, we should have that internal peace rather than depending on the external peace. And what happens if we have a peace within us, if we walk with peace in every step? So imagine that you are in one field of flower where the flowers is about to blossom, right? But if you walk with peace with every step in your way, so the flower under your feet start blooming with your every step. So that in fact the flowers will smile at us, and they will really wish us well on our each and every step. So this pieces every step is a book of reminders that it so happens that in the rush of this modern life, we tend to lose touch with the peace that is already available in each and every moment. Rather, we think about the past and we regret, or neither we think about the future. So we don't have neither past or neither future in our hand. But even though we attain such, we'll do lots of meditations, we'll do all that shama sadhans, but still we as a human being will forget to forget the peace, right? So even I tend to lose this peace most of the time, but I'm concentrating that to gain back by doing meditations, right? So as the author also reminds us that peace and happiness is everywhere around us, also he reminds that if we can only quiet our distracted thinking, distracted mind, so we can come back to the present moment, and we can notice the blue sky, the child smile, and the beautiful sunshine. So if you are peaceful, if we are happy, we can smile, and everyone in our family, everyone in the society will get benefited from our peace. So the author wants, or he talks about the internal transformation, and he says that internal transformation is more important than anything else. So I would like to end with the poem which he had said, so I would like to reiterate that. So peace is every step, the sun is my heart, each flower smiles with me, how green, how fresh all that grows, how cool the wind blows. Peace is every step, peace is every step, it turns the endless path to joy. So this is all about peace, which we have to attain from within. So thank you so much for this opportunity, sir. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Vinita, actually, yes. So whenever we ask people what you want in life, there was this trend, people say that I want some peace in life. So peace is always within us. So we need to understand that we need to bring that peace outside. So I think definitely, as you said, everybody lose your, what do you say, that peace sometimes, but you need to remind ourselves saying that okay, peace is within ourselves. So we are good, then peace is also always available for us. Good. Thank you very much, Vinita. Wonderful talk. I think you finished exactly at 4.5 minutes. It was really good to do that. And we have next speaker, Limi. So she's going to speak about 5 love languages. One of the great topic. If you're married and if you're in a relationship or if you are single, also still this will apply to you because I think most of them know the different languages, Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, and all. But do you know the language which you need to communicate with your loved ones? That's more important. So if you don't know that language, then I think knowing any 5 to 6 languages will not really help. So over to Limi.
Hey, hello everyone, this is Limi here. So last week also I spoke about the same book, The 5 Love Languages. One of the languages what last week I covered was the words of affirmation, and the second chapter he talks about the quality time. See, normally it happens when you talk about the couple, the busy couple who are working and all, they say we get only time in the evening or in the night, we watch TV together. That is the time we spend together, right? This is very common nowadays. But I personally believe, and even the author says here, that watching TV together is not spending time together. Spending time together means you are spending time with each other. Here, what you're doing is that you are spending time with TV, right? So, quality time means undivided attention. So, if you want to spend time with somebody, a quality time, then you must be giving complete attention to the other person. Along with that, it's not that you are just giving the attention. You must be doing the things what the other person, what your spouse like. Maybe a wife, she likes anything. So you must, first thing is you must know what he or she likes. If a wife's quality time with her husband is helping her in the kitchen, maybe you have to understand that and do that. So you must understand what it is, okay? And one important thing is whenever you're talking, see, and again, it doesn't mean that just staring each other and sitting for long hours. No, you have to speak something and all. And when you're doing that, keep your mobile, which is nowadays, which is the biggest distraction. You have to keep that away from you. We do it practically when me and Sam, we are talking on something, because our quality time, mainly what it happens is we talk about our future plans, we talk about our business, we talk about our whatever things we are doing. We take some time, it's not hours and hours, but at least 10 to 15 minutes. If we are talking about that, we both keep our phone aside. Yes, if we have to show something in the phone, we'll show to each other, but it's not that I will be just scrolling on my phone when he's talking. No, it should not happen. You have to give that undivided attention, undivided time to him or her. Okay, that is there. And maybe it happens that a wife or husband's love language or the quality time definition is watching a movie or playing some games, or he gives an example of playing tennis and all. So here also what happens is you are spending time with each other, doing something which both of you like. You're not concentrating on the game. You're concentrating that you are together. So if we take our example, our quality time spending will be going out together for a jog, for a walk, or even we go on holidays, morning we go to some park and all, we take pictures, beautiful pics. So these are our quality time, what we spend with each other. So this is what the author says is you have to give a quality time, undivided attention to your partner. He gives a very beautiful example here is there is a difference between, you can find out when you go to a restaurant, you can make out the difference between the dating couple and the married couple. So dating couple, they will not be concentrating on eating, they will be talking to each other. Others, the married couple are after many years of marriage, they will be just concentrating on eating. So that is there. You have to spend time with each other. And he gives few pointers, is that when you're talking, you have to give eye contact. It's not the same way as I told you. You're not looking here and there. You have to look at each other and talk. Then avoid the distractions. So if you are talking, if you are listening to your spouse, listen to him or her. Don't see the phone or the other things. And refuse to interrupt. When he or she is speaking, then just first listen and then go ahead. Okay, so these are some of the points about the quality time. With this, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Lemi. It was a wonderful talk. I think I don't know, it was a joke or somewhere the news came up actually in somewhere in Italy or some other country. So they have put a board in the hotel saying that, okay, if you drop your cell phones in one of the bucket or the box, what they give, they'll give you 10% discount on the food what they eat. And an amazing strategy, so that they can focus on the food and then what they're talking rather than everybody looking into the phone. Right, that's actually correct. So because we normally say people that we are spending a lot of time with our families and things like that, but most of the time we'll be in front of TV or a computer or maybe watching YouTube, and we sit together, but we are not giving time to each other. We are doing something else. So which is actually not a quality time, and some of them need a vacation to spend time together because they think that if they're at home they cannot spend time together. But I think if you make up your mind wherever it is, probably it could be on the road, it could be on the in the park, or maybe at home. Wherever you go, you can spend time each other and make sure you're giving complete attention to yourself. So amazing talk, Lemi. Thank you very much for that. So next speaker we have, I think Tamara is not there. We'll jump on to Suman, I guess. Suman, you there? Yeah, Suman is there. So Suman, yeah, you can go ahead. I think you're kind of know what you say. Selected one of the great chapters. Everybody communicates, but few connects. I think one of my favorite book. This was one of my favorite book. Another also, that is the one how to influence friends and people. That also how to influence. Sorry, I forgot the complete.
Influence people and win friends.
People and friends. Yeah, that's, I think, yeah, that's the one. So there are two books which I was very much. I have read like 2-3 times always. Right. So I keep on reading that because I wanted to develop that people skill in my career when I was struggling with this actually. So I think this is one amazing book we are going to talk about. Okay, over to you then.
Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. Everybody is safe at homes. So today I'm going to read this chapter, Connecting Increases Your Influence in Every Situation. So as Sam also said, he read this book 2-3 times. I think I also need to read because I am also the person who struggles with communication. Not only right now, from childhood, I think. There are certain people who don't know how to express themselves. But 90% of the time, the success in life is dependent on the communication, how we are conveying the things. It might be a relationship, it might be a job or any small job we are handling, or even if the leaders who are at the top position. If they exactly don't know how to communicate, I think it becomes a problem, hurdle in every situation in life. In office also, we see certain guys who quickly become friends with the managers and they get the promotion. And we sometimes we can't even say that I have worked this much. I think I deserve a raise. I deserve appreciation. We can't even communicate that also. So I think it's very important to connect with others and have a good communication with others. That's what contributes to. That's what contribute. That's what is a major part in the success. I mean, contributor to the success in life. So according to a survey, I think from the moment we wake up and we go to sleep, I think we are bombarded with around 35,000 words per day. Everybody is trying to say something to us. Somebody is trying to sell their product. We have journalists, we have politicians who want to speak about their party. So everybody is just speaking. Okay, we just listen to those words and we forget it. And also we also try to talk to other people, and we just it just goes as a word. I mean, they'll just talk to us and they just listen, they forget, they ignore.
No problem.
Rarely with other people. So it's very important to have connection with people because it increases our influence in every situation. Let's take an example of politicians. Okay, so how do we bifurcate good politician and a bad politician? Definitely the one who was able to connect with the people, who was able to connect with his territory people, and who was able to identify the problems and make a connection with them. Definitely people start labeling him as a good leader. So right from the person who is in the right from the person who is staying at the home to the person who is actually running a nation. So it's very important for everybody to communicate properly. And that's the importance of communication, and that's the importance of connecting with the people. Okay, and also he has given few principles to connect with the people. One is focusing on others. So let's say when we generally have a small talk in office or everywhere, we always focus on ourselves. Okay, that we say that today I had so much work, I'm doing that, I watched this movie. We actually rarely ask other people, what did you do on the weekend? We just go and start boosting. This weekend I saw such a good movie, I went to such a good place, I did this shopping and all. We are always focusing on ourselves and being self-centered. Instead, if we go to a colleague in the workplace and ask him, how was your weekend? It kind of establishes a connection between you and that person and makes it a good workplace. And the next one is expanding your connecting vocabulary. So, I mean, you should also understand how to talk politely and use the correct words at correct time. It doesn't mean that if you are interested in some person, you should know to you should identify your boundary. Okay, you should not cross certain limits talking to other person, asking personal questions and embarrassing them. It will further ruin the things. So try to keep it as a general talk and show genuine interest with the person you're talking to. And the other one is energy for connecting. Don't show fakeness in when you're talking to other person, because people can identify that very fast. Okay, so try to be as genuine as possible and keep it as generic as possible, so to have a good relationship with anybody. And practically he has given certain tips, finding common ground. So actually I gave all the examples with respect to the office workplace, but also the same can be implemented in the relationship or any friendship you want to develop in your life. So finding a common ground is basically you can identify which is your common habit. 1 minute, Dad. Which are your common habits and which are your common hobbies you are working upon, and you can keep the communication very simple. No need to have like, as I told, vocabulary doesn't mean that you should identify, you should learn hi-fi English words which are having complex meanings and all. Just keep it very simple, but show genuine interest and avoid fakeness in the word which you're talking upon. And also try to inspire others. And you can, if someone is struggling with doing something, that's an example, he wants to learn driving, but he's struggling with doing that. So you can inspire the other person saying that you can join these classes, you can do certain things and all. So you can inspire the other person. And yeah, being authentic. So above all, if you're being fake in life, nothing can happen. So try to be as genuine as possible and show genuine interest in other people. So by that, you can actually establish a good communication and connection with other people. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful, Suman. I think yes, because it's actually human behavior. Actually, we want to tell about ourselves to others, but actually, the other human behavior is nobody wants to hear us, right? That's again a challenge. So it's always, if you want to build a community, if you want to build a good relationship, you should be interested in others. In case if you're not interested in others, definitely they are not looking for. But as you said, fake, interest also does not sell in the market for a longer time. So you can make fool people or a fool people for one time, but not every time. That's there. So I think now there are some questions when we ask for when you connect with people. So why not to hurt them or things like that. So one of the question which I remembered was when you go and meet a person and you know that okay, probably he is in his mid 30s or 25 or 28 years, and before you ask them, are you married or do you have a kid or something like that, it's better to ask a question like that. Who are all there at home? Who are your dependents? So that you come to know, because those people can be going through different problems in their life. Probably somebody is trying to get married and he's not getting a girl or a boy and he's struggling with that, and all of a sudden you go and ask that, are you married? And it reminds him about his struggle, what is he going through, right? And probably if somebody is trying to have a kid and if they don't have a kid for a couple of years and you ask how many children you have, and now that reminds them. So it's always, you use your question in such a way that you can connect to people in a right way. So ask different type of questions. Who are out there at home? Right? Is it only two people? Use only two people stay there, or maybe somebody else? So they give an answer in the right way. So it's amazing talk, Suman. Thank you very much for that. Amazing book, guys. I think if you're in a corporate job and if you're a people manager, I think these two books are, it's like a Bible for you. I would say, how to win friends and influence people, and everybody communicates and you connects. Okay, go. We will jump on to the next speaker. We have Basir Ahmad, who's going to speak about you can heal your life. Absolutely, we can heal our life, but we want to know how to do that from Bashir. So Bashir is going to talk about it. Hey Bashir, over to you.
Hi, good evening, guys. Sorry for late joining. I had some meeting and I was rushed through. Today, as I told, like last week, I wanted to speak on the same topic. You can heal your life. There are many doctors, and the author itself, Louise Hay. The best example, what I can give, she has written a very good book. It's a very previous book, around 23 years back, but still, it has been grown in the market because of the chapter or the way which she has told to communicate yourself to your life so that you can heal your diseases. For example, we always see healing is only, we always refer to diseases. Okay. For example, what I can give is like during COVID-19 pandemic, if I see the 90% of the survey, most of the people who died, it is because they were not emotionally well maintained or not capable of caliber of handling that situation. So that was a one main thing. So what authors tell is like, so disease is like a mental state of a human being of illness. You yourself kill half of the way. So the most important thing, what matters for all of us is we should always know what is important for us, what is not important for us in our life. So here the author totally what he tells is like, see, whenever you get any problem in the life, never stick to anything, okay, to your past or to your mistakes or to a disease type of emotional attachment with anything. So that is the main cause for your mental illness. So that mental illness will kill your half 90% of the confidence or the situation which you wanted to handle. So for example, if a person, if you see in a corporate world or in a college, who is always, fear is a disease, okay. If you don't give him a confidence, half of its life, he will lose the battle wherever he go. So similar way, emotional attachment to anything or anywhere in the world, if you keep it to things or any of the way, so it is going to keep you always in a position where it will not be like win-win situation to yourself to come out of that certain situation. So here the author has totally provided certain different type of techniques where I'm going to speak about later because I have not gone through that. So overall view of this book is to always focus on providing positive aspects to your life so that how you can heal yourself from those mental states or emotional attachment what you have been doing. For example, if I tell you like if there's a cancer patient, okay, and if you tell him that you are going to die tomorrow, so that way of mental illness, but once he comes in, if he communicates that you are going to die tomorrow, that once he inculcate that idea that I am going to die, he will lose his hope of life. So that is the mental state from where positive to negative he will come. So similar way, what she tells is like, you should never make anyone to feel guilty of yourself or never feel regret for your past mistakes or not withhold yourself to your past, any of the things what you have done. So always move forward in life with a positive aspects. To bring the positive aspects, what is important is you should never attach yourself emotionally to any of the things, okay. Most of the people, whoever is there in the world, as I told like in previous also, like emotional quotient will matter a lot nowadays in this 2020, 21st century, rather than IQ. Whether it may be a corporate, personal life, anywhere, your EQ will matter a lot rather than IQ. So focus on developing EQ. For example, if I tell you a rank student who used to sit in a first bench, whose IQ is very fast, and a student who sits in the last bench, he might not be good in his studies, okay, in his IQ level, but he will be very good in handling these emotional quotient. I have seen the surveys almost from many psychological or anywhere if you go, 90% of the people who get placed in the world, they are not a good student, they are average student, they know how to handle emotional level. For example, if a student with a gold medalist, if we don't get placed, you see the way in which how he reacts to himself to that particular situation. They totally undergo a mental illness, stress. So you should be able to handle your emotional things. So that will matter a lot in this century. So here the author will further give you all the techniques, what to do, how to handle these all different states of emotional attachments and diseases, which you can overcome. So I'm going to speak more about in the upcoming week. So this is what I have prepared as an overview today. So thank you, Sam. I don't have much to deliver now.
Thank you. Thank you, Bashir. Thank you very much. Heal your life. I think it's a wonderful topic. It's required in today's world. because of the pandemic and stuff. People are going through a lot of stress and anxiety as well. So I think healing ourselves is one of the best way to do. As you said, when there is a problem, when there's a fear, when there's a problem, accept it and just let go. That don't get attached to it. Accept there is a problem, get into it, and leave that. So that would be the best thing to do, because without that we cannot lead our life. So we need to accept whatever problem is there. Gaur Gopal just says this statement. I always tell it to my son, this one. Whenever he comes with a problem, I say them, do you have a problem? He says yes. Do you have a solution for it? He says no. Then why worry? Don't worry about it. The next thing again he says, do you have a problem? Yes. Do you have a solution for it? Yes, I have. Then why worry? So both the ways, you don't have to worry. You have to go on. That's it, right? So if you have a problem, solution, you solve it. If you don't have a problem, you have a problem, and if you don't have a solution, what to do with it? You have to live with that problem. That's it. You don't have to worry about it. Thank you very much, Bashir. It was wonderful talk about healing yourself. Very much required in today's world. Okay, so we have next speaker. Sai Kumar is not available, so we will jump on to Sunil, who is going to speak about speed wealth. Very, very, very interesting. Sunil, I think everybody wants it actually. How can you make more money? Right, that's more important, because one thing which people have wrong notation is about wealth is money is evil. But I would always say that three things excite me in life is only these things. One is money, second is money, third one is money, right? Because we can do a lot of things with money actually, right? So it's about you having, if you have 10 rupees, you can give out 5 rupees to somebody else. But if you don't have that, we cannot do that. So we will listen from Sunil how to make speed wealth. Probably, yeah. Yes, Sunil, over to you.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you very much. So here I start. So if you are going to work hard anyway, you might as well get rich, and the quicker is the better. Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Sunil. I'm speaking from Pune, and today I'm going to speak about the T. Harv Eker's speed wealth. T. Harv Eker is one of the influential personality in self-help industry. So today I'm speaking on his small book Speed Wealth. So here he had mentioned so many powerful principles. So today I'm going to reveal one or two powerful principles. So here, how the whole story of the book is about how to stop earning a living and start creating wealth. So the first step is you need to position yourself. You have to position yourself for creating the wealth and become a millionaire in your life. If somebody is doing better than you, it's because they know something that you don't know. So if you are still in the job and if you are dreaming for becoming a millionaire, then you are wrong. So because job stands for just over broke. So, and if you don't want to be in the job, if you don't want to land your whole life spending in doing the job, then the only thing you have to do is you have to create your own business. So the first principle here is you have to develop a speed wealth mindset. And here he tells us that change brings opportunity, and quick change brings quick opportunity. So if you are looking for the opportunities in your life, the biggest advantage of 21st century is everything is changing. Technology is changing, mindset is changing, people's needs changing, demands are changing, and everything is revolving around the change because everything is become fast. So in this fast-paced world, we have to be fast in changing yourself. And if you want to bring the speed wealth in your own life, then you have to make something which is fast and super fast than compared to your other superior. So success is a learnable skill, and the good news is that the past does not equal to the future. Means if you want to be a successful and if you don't have any knowledge or experience, then don't bother. So because success is a learnable skill and your past does not equal to your future. So the story goes here about author tells that your belief system determines the actions you are going to take in your life. So the first belief system is you have to install in your life. And I request all of you to repeat with me or after me. So getting rich quickly is feasible. Getting rich quickly is feasible,
Getting rich is feasible.
and getting rich quickly is feasible for me.
Getting rich easily is feasible.
Yes. So creating wealth quickly has almost become a necessary. It's not a choice. So we have to be a millionaire and we have to create that change in ourselves. So the second power principle author tells us that if you are going to work hard anyway, you may as well get rich, and the quicker is the faster. Quicker is the better. So anyway we are going to spend our life, anyway we are going to work hard, anyway we are going to put the efforts, and anyway we are going to pay the price which is necessary to be financially free or to earn the success which we are desired for. So for that, if you are committed, then you have to put 2 to 3 years of your hard work. And if you are not going to do it right now, then ask yourself when you are going to do. And if you are not going to do by yourself, then ask who is going to do it for yourself. So with this, I'm done and back to host. Thank you.
Thank you, Sunil. It was a wonderful talk about the speed wealth actually, because as you said, nice definition for job, but most of them are doing the job right now. It is necessary because of, we have to figure out what is next, right? So it's a survival now. So, but I think that, but basically what you told is correct, because it's more of, we coming out of the comfort zone and creating something for ourselves, because everybody wants to do something in their life, but only thing which is missing is action. What action are you taking on a daily basis to make the next 5 years better for you? So I always remember this quote said by Tony Robbins or somebody said, you underestimate the thing whatever you can create in 5 years, and you overestimate in 1 year whatever. I completely don't remember that, but we always think that okay, we cannot do, we have very less time to do things like that. But if you do something consistently for next 5 to 10 years, I think somewhere we will reach. But maybe in one before you get retired, you would have created something big. It's possible. Right? It's what we are doing. Good talk, Sunil. Thank you very much for that great talk. And we will go to the next speaker. So we have Ramesh is not there. I think we have Dharmraj who's going to speak about.
Yes.
Somebody is. Yeah, Bashir, you told something.
Like Sunil, he repeated one statement. No, sorry, Dharmraj, for interrupting.
Yeah,
he told something in the last. So can you just repeat back that statement? You repeated some statement.
Yeah. If you are going to work hard anyway, you may all well get rich, and the quicker the better.
Okay.
The crux is, if you are going to work hard anyway, and you may as well get rich by doing that hard work, so the quicker is the better. You have to start right now, immediately.
No. Anyways, you're going to work hard, so why don't you work hard in your own thing and get quicker rich rather than working hard in that 9 to 15 hours in the office. Okay. He's trying to say. Good thoughts, Sunil. Thank you very much. We will go to Dharmraj then. Hey, Dharmraj is going to speak about creative confidence. Okay?
Yes.
I think amazing book.
So this is the second chapter of the book called Failure Paradox. So the point here is like whatever we think about the person, any innovator person, any creative person, we think like they must be very genius, or they have some different super kind of power that they don't fail. They just do the thing and it will happen. But it's a myth. So according to the Professor Dean Simmons of the California University, he proved that people who is creative genius are very good at failures. They fail more than us. But what they do is they just keep trying and experimenting. They don't stop. Just what they simply do is just one more push, one more try in a different way. Let's take an example of Nikola Tesla. Thomas Edison. So when he was about to invent a bulb, people say he tried more than 1,000 times and he failed. So people were saying that he's failing again and again. But what he was thinking is, like every time he got fail, he is learning like this way I'm not able to create a bulb, I have to another way, I have to find another creative way to invent a bulb. So this is how he just learning from his failure experience. He's just creating one more way to find a solution. So the main quotation I got like in the chapter is like, whenever you try a new thing or create something new or learn something new, in a starting if you fail, so it's a good thing, because in an initial level if you fail, you got to know where are you lacking, what is the thing you are missing, and which are the point you have to provide the most attention. Then you can achieve it in the, if you are not failing in a mid starting, and if you fail in a mid, so that will be a problem for you, because you already reached for something in a midway and now you are facing the difficulty. It will be struggle. But if you are starting something and failing in a starting point, or some initial moment, that it's a very good point if you are failing. So don't go discouraged like, I'm just trying to get new thing, trying for learning new thing, I'm failing in a initial first day or second day. So it's good thing, like you have to figure it out the different way, because it will help you. So that's the creative way to learn a thing that is difficult for you. So that's about the paradox, failure of paradox. Yeah guys, that was a learning from this book.
Thank you, Dharm. Okay, wonderful talk. Right. So failing, forward, always make the failure as a stepping stone and go forward. That's the funda.
Yes.
Right. So because the problem with human being is also same thing, like where when we fail in one time in something, and we always go with that. Example, if you had a bad experience sometimes, so sometimes you keep that in mind and you continuously go with the same thing, saying, okay, this happened in that past, so I don't want to take that
Yes.
step again, so I don't want to put that step again into the next thing. So, and it happens to most of the people. It's example, simple things also. Maybe you went to a restaurant and you had a food, and on that day the food was not good, and you will never go to that restaurant again thinking that the food is always bad there. Could be that
Right.
particular day it was wrong. That's it. So don't be afraid of failure. Maybe not a relevant example, but still that is what the human mind takes it negative always, and
Yes.
going into the past and then make sure they don't try it again. So try again, it will happen. Okay, so we have last speaker of the day, so who's going to speak about a very creative topic actually. Who Will Cry When You Die, written by Robin Sharma. I think Ram is available. Ram there. So before Ram, you come. I think I have one person who's newly joined. I think Medha. You want to introduce Medha quickly? Give your name, where you're from, and what you do. You can do that. Unmute yourself.
Sure. Can you hear me all?
Yes, yes, Medha. You can go ahead.
Okay, it's Medha Javade. I am from Pune, Chinchpad, and to this honorable group, Sunil Dandge introduced me. So I am thank you all of you for sharing such a valuable
You go
knowledge.
and
Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Medha. Thank you very much. Welcome to the group. And now keep coming so you can pick up some book and start talking as well. So you can probably share some insights from your end so that we also get inspired from your stories, what you want to speak about.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And over to Ram now. Ram, you want to start off?
yeah, sure. So today I picked the book Who Will Cry When You Die. A very interesting book. Okay, so I just thought to prepare for a couple of topics. It is a easy book actually. Simple English language he has used by Robin Sharma. There are around 100 topics in it. Okay, so most of topic are very easily connect, because these are by title only we can make it these are the self-explanatory. I think more than 15 million copies been sold. I definitely, it is a recommendable book, no doubt in it. Okay, the simple I mean the self-explanatory topic, like talk to yourself. Okay, uh, get a coach, walk in wood. Okay, drink fresh juice. Okay, do meditation. Okay, get up early. I mean, these are all very day-to-day routine thing. Most of books, these are the very common topics. Just what I have picked today to talk is, these are very new in terms and new in learning. So I noted few things. Okay. Just coming back to my topic, I picked the first topic is Thomas Edison. Okay, we know all Thomas Edison. Just Dharma was speaking on Thomas Edison, some good inputs. He's one of the famous quote. 1% in inspiration and 99% is all perspiration, right? So we all need to strongly believe in this statement. Okay, we need to have we definitely need to have such a hard work commitment towards our life to get the success and fulfillment. Okay. And when you study the great genius in the world, okay, you definitely, one thing you will discover that desire become an obsession for most of them. Okay. And it consumed and occupied every cell of their mind. Okay, so you can imagine the hard work or the dedication they have given to their life, to achieve their success. Definitely, Edison is no exception in that. Okay, so whatever we have seeing it in a reality, he would have definitely imagined these things in those days, right? So this is about one topic, and there's other term they have used, schedule your worries. Okay, so this is something new I found here. Okay, what author is trying to say here, everyone individual life, we have our own worries. Okay, so what he's trying to say here, these worries should not distract our day-to-day routine work. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to keep a slot for these worries, working on these worries. So maybe it is in once in a week, twice in a week, or every day in the evening. Okay, based on your routine schedule, you can keep the slot for work on the worries. Okay, so I mean, to just give an example, okay, if I get a worry, or in between the work I have suddenly recall and it is interrupting my work, I'll be going to note that worry, and when I pick that worry in the evening given slot, okay, I'll be isolating to somewhere and thinking deeply on that worry. And according to author, he mentioned, this technique is really wondered, helped for more than 1,000 lives. Okay, this is what he is trying to convey with this topic. Okay, next topic is care for the temple. Okay, with looking at this topic, I wonder it was something else, but it is nothing but you should equally focus on your health, prioritize on your exercise. Okay, you are taking care of your physique or body in a simple language. Okay, this could definitely help you, going to help you in generating new ideas. You will be focusing on your routine things, you will be more energetic in the day, right? And there is a one study says in the Harvard alumni, they had conducted more than 18,000 students. Okay, what this study concluded here is, your 1 hour of exercise, it will add you 3 hours of a daytime, 3 hours of a day in your life, right? So you can imagine the impact of the 1 hour exercise on a daily, right? Then next thing is there's other topic here, 6 degrees of separation. Okay, to be frank, I'm really not able to convince or connect myself with this statement, but what he's saying is, everybody on this planet is separated by only 6 people. So I tried 2 to 3 times, I tried to read this, but still I'm not convinced. But still I pick this to discuss here, because there is one para he written. Okay, he is saying, trying to say here, okay, you have to make a list of 100 people. Okay, to whom you want to meet before you die. Okay, So what is this is list is all about? These people who are inspired you most. Okay, these people are a role model or a hero for your life. Okay, and these people whom you can relate with your purpose or purpose of your life, your objective of your life, or the way you struggling to achieve something. These are very similarly, with these people. Okay, so definitely law of attraction says that we attract into our life that which we focus the most, right? This is about this 6 degree of separation. Coming to next and last topic, spend a day without watch. Okay, so nowadays most of we don't use a watch. Watch has been replaced with the mobile. Hope you all agree. And I don't deny a fact, with living without mobile is most not obvious thing, right? So it is one of the necessity thing in the life, right? But what he is trying to say here, staying without a watch. Okay, one day he went, keeping his mobile and watch away, and that has definitely helped him to reflect his life, reflect himself, about his imagination, ambitious, objective purpose of life. And when he come back on that day, he has discovered altogether a new life or a new personality, right? So definitely it is not going to help us all, but you can definitely keep your 2 to 3 hours, every time you can see your mobile, instead of keeping with you, you can keep it in the next room. Okay, so that it will not impact or hammer your routine work, right? So coming back to next, I think that is what I want to convey, and to end with this famous quote from Narman Cousins, one of the famous leadership and author. Okay, the tragedy of life is not a death. I'll repeat, the tragedy of life is not death, but what we let die inside of us while we are living. But what we let die inside of us while living is the tragedy. With this, I done with my talk. Over to Sam.
Thank you, Ram. Thank you very much. That was a wonderful statement actually in the end. I was reading the book called as Ultimate Power. In that, Tony Robinson says that, the only people who are without problem is who are there in cemeteries, right? So that is where you can go and find the people who are not a problem, but everybody in the life has a problem actually. So when you were talking, actually, I was remembering about now a couple of things, right, about worries. So I think last month my father was admitted in hospital, and it was Wednesday was a book club, and the next day there was an angioplasty, and some critical operation has to go through my dad. And I was in the book club, and I was thinking, me and my wife were discussing actually, see, most of the people just sit at home thinking about it. So my father is in hospital. I'm thinking too much about it. It does not give him anything. But if I'm positive about him, I think it can add energy to him actually. So I was more of positive, saying that nothing is going to happen. He'll be coming out of tomorrow after operation. He'll be out of ICU. He'll be in ward, and everything will go well. That is my thought process. And I attended the book club. The book club went well. The next day everything went well. I was okay, and he was also okay. Everything went well. So what I'm trying to tell you is, worries will be there, as you said. If you keep on worrying as well as doing your work, doesn't happen. The productivity will go down. So you cannot keep on worrying. As I said, keep a worry time, or maybe don't worry at all. If there is something, if you're going to worry about, as I said, the Gaur Gopal Das story, right? If there is a problem and if you don't have a solution for it, there's no way you can get out of by worrying. You just don't have to worry. Just let it go. Accept there is a problem. We'll see how how we can bring the solution to it. If the solution comes, good. If the solution does not come, we have to leave the problem. That's it. Right. Okay. Wonderful talk by all of the speakers actually. So we had a good time. So I don't think so anybody else we have missed out the process. All right. Everybody we have covered. Good. Good job, guys. I see. No, she's not there. She was in another meeting actually.
I just jumped out of a meeting.
No problem. Okay, guys. So we will meet up next week again with a lot of more nuggets actually. So probably what I'm thinking is I'll pick up a book and send it to
Sam
you.
Dharm has something to say, I think.
Yeah, Dharm,
Yeah.
go ahead.
How many people we can recommend? Like he was a good speaker. Only one or many?
If you can many, not a problem. We can put
Okay.
second lesson also. Yeah, I forgot to tell that actually. Please fill the form before you leave. There is a form already given in the chat box. Go and fill the form and nominate yourself. Nominate others, not yourself. Put the name so that there. So I'll not going to put this form in the group because it's only for the people who are attending, right? So there is no point in putting it in the group. That doesn't make sense. You can go and quickly fill it. I'll give you 1 more minute, so we are on time. Okay. So probably when we join next week, we need to make sure the timing is intact so that we will be good in public speaking as well as we'll be completing our club on